And we're live. Good morning. I can't really get up into the higher registers because I'm doing many other things this weekend that we will discuss here on the podcast. Welcome. It is another lovely Sunday morning. These are the two corners that you will be speaking to in the Speaker's Corner this week. Let me tell you, under the shadow of the Gold Dome, and we do have a shadow this morning because the sun is out. It is a beautiful day. This Labor Day weekend, I am Jeff Wheeler here in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Con of the Dragon. That is right. Dragon Con is here in Atlanta, and so am I. But I will introduce you to a man that stays on the northern side of intelligence, where that goes up for the, I don't know what I'm going to say with that, but I'm going to let it go. And we'll go to Tom Holmes. Say good morning.
You may call me Khaleesi, in honor of the dragons.
Okay, so a quick moment. I am lost half of the time as to whether it's Elsa or Khaleesi. There's that blue dress that they look exactly the same, and it happened to me all day yesterday. I'm like,
Cosplay
Elsa
fail.
or Khaleesi? Because they're close, right? They're close.
Oh, that's hilarious. You need to. Not that I'm a proponent of creating memes, because there's enough.
Right.
But you need to, that Futurama one with Fry squinting, and
Right.
it should be like dragging into con. Not sure if cosplay Khaleesi
Right.
or Elsa.
Right.
That would be
right.
a great one to do.
Or right next to the blue and black dress and the silver and gold dress or whatever, or the gold and white dress.
Yeah, take a picture of a cosplayer and put them side by side and be like, Khaleesi? Elsa.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, Dragon Con is going on here in Atlanta, and it's a wonderful time had by all. There are very many wonderful, exciting things and people that are doing wonderful things, specifically in cosplay and showing their general geekdom. And I enjoy this time every year because those people who want to be a celebrity for the weekend can do so. Any average Joe can spend $150 on Amazon, get a cosplay outfit that will make everyone that they walk by stop and want to take a picture with them, with just a little bit of wit and some solid effort. That this is an achievable goal to be a superstar for the weekend. And that, to me, is one of the magics of these kind of conventions and why they resound and resonate so hard in our current pop culture.
I've never been to a convention.
Tom, we need to go to a convention.
I hate people, though.
Crowds. It is people on
Yeah.
top of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I love you, bye. Yeah, I don't like going to... Also, I don't like smelly people, which I realized this summer. I made the mistake of going to the Midtown comic book shop, which I hate because it's always crowded compared to the one downtown. And it was summer, and it was in the heat wave.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh, God, Nerd Funk was so heavy. I just was like, I literally had to, like, hold my breath at times and just reach and grab my books and what I needed and get to the register because I had to get out.
My argument is the only thing that could possibly be worse than Nerd Rage is Nerd Funk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you get and that's the thing is on these cons, the Nerd Funk is strong.
Yeah.
It comes in waves, so you'll go an hour and you'll get no Nerd Funk, and then somebody will brush up against you, and he's been sweating for the last 3 hours, so you get this sweaty arm like rubbed up against yours, and it's like somebody just snotted on you, and it's wonderful.
And then you get that, and then you get contact funk.
Then you get contact funk, which is
Then
even. I mean, like it's the real bring the funk.
It's like that Seinfeld episode where the car had BO, and then the BO was like transferring to anyone who sat in the car.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, tomorrow is not Dragon Con, or maybe it is.
Oh, it is still, yes.
Oh, it still goes through.
Yeah, it goes through Monday.
Tomorrow is one of my favorite holidays. It is Labor Day.
Okay.
Yay. I love Labor Day.
Does that mean you have to work on this day? Is that what that's for?
I know. Yeah, I think it's celebrating. It's recognizing and celebrating labor.
Okay.
And the
Like
work
the
we
Labor
do.
Party?
No, not the Labor Party.
Oh.
He's looking up the origin.
Yeah, I'm currently Googling the origin because that's how we do it here.
That's how we roll. We never do our research beforehand.
We do our research on. Right, so it's all about unionization. It's all about unions, right? Labor Day is a public holiday celebrated first Monday in September, and it honors the American labor movement. The American labor movement, which is effectively unionization. right? So all of these things that happen on Labor Day, people getting drunk in the woods, et cetera, all happen based on the unions.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
In 1882, Matthew McGuire, a machinist, first proposed the holiday while serving as secretary of the Central Labor Union of New York. So it's you New Yorkers,
baby.
You New Yorkers.
You're welcome, America.
That's right.
Not only is it union, but it's New York Union.
It's New York Union. That's the best union.
We got the best bagels. We got the best pizza. We got the best unions. Boom. Read that last graph.
Oh. There's a graph that says when Labor Day is and what day it is.
A Steffi graph.
I don't understand that. Okay. So we'll move on.
Moving on. Patriot Day is on September 11th. I'm not from. That's not Evacuation Day. That's is that like a Pakistani holiday? No, that's because I know Army Day is this week, I think. What the hell is Patriot Day?
Is the National Day of Service and Remembrance. Occurs on September 11th every year in memory.
I honestly had no idea.
So Patriot Day is a new day founded from the night the 2001 attack on the World Trade Center. Another New York holiday. Effectively.
I honestly did not know that they were calling it Patriot Day. I mean, I know it as if you had said it's September 11th, I know in the show notes it says September 11th, Patriot Day, but I just read it as like Patriot Day. The fuck is Patriot Day? If it was September 11th, I would have been like, oh yes, this week is the the 14th anniversary of the attacks of 9/11. I don't know. Had no idea. And a year from now, Ziggy would put it in the show notes, and once again, like an ass, I'll be like, Patriot Day? What the hell is that?
Is this from Pakistan or something?
Yeah, I will be that guy. This week's asshat is Tom. Tom Holm, you're an asshat.
You didn't know what Patriot Day was.
I did not know it was Patriot Day.
Well, you got to call it something, right?
Yeah. That means the local news is just going to be nonstop up here.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. You got that to deal with.
Yeah.
One of the burdens of being in the greatest city on earth, right?
Tokyo?
What are you talking about? Dusseldorf?
September 12th, and I'm so glad Z put this date on the calendar, or listed that this date is on the calendar. September 12th is Federal Lands Cleanup Day.
Carl Garner's Federal Lands Cleanup Day?
Yeah, which is better than Carl Weathers' Federal Cleanup, or Carl Malone's.
Yes.
Federal Lands Cleanup Day. But apparently, and Jeff was quick to the take to Carl Sagan. Oh, we forgot Carl Sagan. Carlton. Cleanup Day. Jeff was quick to the point to mention that, or point out that, like, it takes place a week after Labor Day. So this is clean up the mess you jackasses made in our parks.
You Americans made. Let's just call them Americans.
Yeah. Americans.
Because
we are cleaning up messes. And you know what's something, a mess that we've been cleaning up since the 60s? Uh-oh, are we dropping too many bombs?
The FCC
We're getting an FCC warning.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's okay. We disregard all FCC warnings because this is a bit-derived show. And with all of that enormously offensive porn out of there on the internet, I can't really be too feeling bad about what I just said. So, fair enough. You said that there was one more holiday we need to discuss?
No, I think we're done with holidays.
Oh, okay. Not even Patriots Day.
Did you just turn on the washing machine?
That's my air conditioning.
Okay.
Which is like the loudest air conditioning on studio ever.
Is something going on here? Wow. Oh, did you turn it off?
I just turned it off, sexy Mike.
Okay. Oh, because that picks it up more. Something we are still cleaning up from, and I would highly recommend. I'm very curious about this movie. I have not seen it yet. but there's a documentary that just came out called I believe it's called the Best of Enemies, and because it's perfectly timed, we're in an election cycle, and it's about a series of debates during the Republican National Convention between Gore Vidal and Buckley, William F. Buckley, and the two, basically paragons of the right and the left, two men who absolutely loathed each other, and it strikes me as fascinating because this was really kind of Buckley was kind of recognizing the power of the of utilizing and exacerbating culture wars. To basically for political capital, which we still see today. But also it looks like the way these two guys discuss and talk looks like Crossfire or any of these kind of, and
that was how they did the debate?
It was, what it was it was almost like they were watching the Republican National Convention, and then they would cut to the ABC would cut to the two of them to discuss what was going on at the convention. So they were like the pundits, and it was knives at each other's throats. Wow. These two men, because they absolutely hate each other, but they both represented, two disparate portions of the country,
groups,
that were forming and going at each other. It looks like a trip and a half.
Okay, can I tell you the most exciting part? I just looked it up while we're here on the show because that's how we do it. The most exciting thing is there are two narrators. One for each one of these guys. Take a guess as who the off-camera voice for Vidal and Buckley are.
Pretending to be them or narrating about them?
There's the off-camera voice whenever they do this documentary or whatever, so they had to have somebody do the voice acting.
Okay.
Tell the story.
Two
guys, once you hear these names, you're going to be like, wow, that's going to be awesome. All right, I'm just going to go. Or do you want to guess?
John Lithgow?
That is one, yes.
Okay. John Lithgow is he doing Buckley?
He's doing Vidal.
He's doing Vidal. And so Buckley will be being done by, I don't know, who?
Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, man, that's really smart. Oh,
I know.
They both can do that transatlantic accent that people did but no longer do.
Right.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh,
I think it's going to be very excellent.
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to it strongly. Yeah. 92 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
That's 92 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's in theaters now. I imagine it'll be a short run and then probably be available for stream soon. Hopefully.
Right. And that's really what our lives are surrounded around, was what we can stream.
Yeah.
CanIStreamIt.com.
Yep. CanIStreamIt.com. Yes, transatlantic accent. That's the accent that it's not an acquired accent. It was a taught accent. This is the accent of Katharine Hepburn or all those American actors who it wasn't British, but it was kind of screamed of New England and education. It was an inculcated accent. It was taught to them. That's why it doesn't exist anymore, because it's not a regional accent.
Right.
It
doesn't exist in anywhere except for tennis clubs and old folks' homes at this point.
Yeah. Michelle,
speaking of old folks,
Ziggy just asked if it was my father. Hey, he's not an old folk. Asked if my father has a transatlantic accent. Maybe he's lost what he had, but I can't tell if that was more of a suburban Philadelphia accent that he carried, or if it was a little bit of transatlantic. But it quite possibly, because he did go to high school in New Haven, so maybe he was kind of taught. That was late 50s, so they still might have been teaching that. What isn't fading or going to be a short run, like that movie or the transatlantic accent, appears to be the run of Bernie Sanders.
Right.
I just read is now ahead in the polls in New Hampshire,
which is
and is
crazy.
Catching up in Iowa.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I enjoy that Bernie Sanders isn't beholden to the typical things that politicians are beholden to, which is the RNC or the DNC, right? He is able to say what it is that he wants. He's a little crazy, but, I guess most Americans are a little crazy. But I guess now we've got really effectively 2 billionaires that are running for office. And we've gone right back to the 1880s.
Mm-hmm.
When it was all about the bourgeois running for the country. Or, excuse me, instead of it being bourgeois, the kids are now saying bougie.
These kids. These kids. And the music.
And their music. You get off my lawn.
College is back in session, and I became painfully aware of that when we were doing a team building activity in Washington Square, and it was just flooded with kids in class of 2019 T-shirts, and I was like, "Oh God!"
Wow.
Yeah. So the battle for the soul of capitalism is well underway. That's a line I penned to if an imagined scenario if it was Trump versus Sanders.
Yeah, but is there anybody else on the DNC side that has a chance or is a strong contender in any way?
Is there anyone on the RNC side?
No, DNC. On the Democratic side.
Well, Biden still has not said no, and I have
but
seen
is
some
he a strong candidate?
He's popular. Let's be honest.
Popular,
he's popular. He's charming. He's got a little bit of it's Uncle Joe.
He does have a little bit of Uncle Joe in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just he's not somebody who really moves the needle, in my opinion, on what we're doing as a country. He doesn't strike me as the kind who could ever really be a leader, right? He's the kind of guy who is a negotiator and makes things that somebody else is trying to lead work out. So.
Yeah. Maybe you should go back to the Senate and be the head of the Senate.
Ooh. Maybe.
I don't mind seeing him back in the Senate. Back, hang out with his friends. Hanging out with my family. Giving myself a party. So did you hear the Fugees are doing a tour of Eastern Europe?
No.
Yeah, it's apparently huge. They're in Hungary, but tour bus was stopped at. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm reading this wrong. It's refugees.
Oh,
I'm stupid.
The Syrians are not a good joke ever.
Yeah, it's not a good. That here at the Speaker's Corner, we love dark humor because it gets people. It opens up conversations. Realistically, what we're talking about is the refugee crisis that is been on the front page and with right reason for several weeks now, and it's sadly taken. Multiple tragedies. We were discussing it before we went on live on the air. The first one and still can't get in my head was the box truck that they found the bodies of 70 refugees fleeing all the war and calamity in places like Syria and Iraq, trying to get to places like Austria, Germany, and these 70
So the
people
question
died.
is that something that has always gone on and we're just better at knowing about it now?
What?
Because 100 years ago, well, not even 100 years ago, in the 1920s, there was some conflict in the Balkans that, had people trying to ride to the next country and they all died on the way, it wouldn't make global news.
Yeah, I mean,
throughout history, isn't this just something that happens?
If you want to go with it doesn't. But it doesn't. Crisis happens, refugees happens, but the response is differs from time to time. I think of what's the ship the tragedy of that ship that full of Jewish refugees trying to flee Europe. That was turned away at Cuba and then turned away at the U.S. and then turned away at Canada and then had to go back to Amsterdam, where the captain was finally able to find them places in Amsterdam and France and Belgium. And I think a significant number of those passengers ended up dying in the Holocaust. And this was pre-war.
Wow.
So there's opportunities to say this stuff happens all the time is defeatist, I think. It's you can say these things happen, and here's what we can do to lessen the hurt.
So let me take it like I would take world hunger. There has been hunger throughout human history. And every year, every 5 years, every 10 years, we get better at feeding and nourishing the population of the world, in my argument. There's more people that are fed this year than were fed last year. And so, yes, hunger still happens and people still starve to death. But all you can do is make it better this year than it was last year. And this refugee situation, you're probably going to have to take a little bit bigger snippet to be able to make a mark than you would 1 year. But say in a 10-year period, you just try and make it better in this 10-year period than you had it 10 years previous. And as long as you're doing that, you're really doing the work, because I don't think it's a problem that, oh, this happens and it needs to immediately stop, because it's just unrealistic to think that something that's gone on since civilized societies have been at war.
Oh,
right?
no, I'm not expecting that. No, I'm not expecting that there, would be zero casualties.
Right, but the people in the media typically do write articles as if this is an atrocity that we should stop the whole.
Because it is. No, it is an atrocity, because you've got basically Hungary saying no.
Yeah.
Basically setting up internment camps and planning to put more barbed wire and trenches at the border, basically saying no, y'all just stay over there. I know it's shitty, but sorry, this is not, no.
It's not our we don't want your problems.
So that's where I say tragedy, when you've got, what's his name, Viktor Orban. I'm not the outside of the week. Viktor Orban is the outside of the week. For basically saying, yeah, we've got enough Muslims here. Viktor Orban is the Prime Minister of Hungary, and he's a dick. Sorry, FCC. That's where it becomes a tragedy, when basically people put their own self-interest 100% above and are not trying to say, well, what can we do to... That's what I'm saying, lessen. I'm not saying remove all ill. Right. I'm saying lessen the ill and hurt. Because we aren't... And also, this is the fact that I feel like there's just been such a hands-off approach to Syria and the civil war that's been going on there, to suddenly say, oh, shit, now there's this refugee crisis. Like, come on, man.
Oh, but it's not just Syria.
Not just Syria, no.
Not just Syria. Older, longer-running conflicts have displaced, for instance, 1.1 million refugees from Somalia, 2.59 million from Afghanistan. These are refugees that are roaming the world trying to find places to resettle.
Yeah.
And these are not people who are walking in with high amounts of resources, high amounts of automatic contribution to your society. These are people that need to be folded in to a certain extent to be put to where they need to. You're tired, you're weak, you're hungry, yearning to be free, right?
Come here, baby.
Words?
Yeah.
Isn't that the words on the Statue of Liberty?
Statue of Liberty? Statue of Liberty. You're a bastard, man. You're a bastard.
But it's one of those things that, it's a struggle, because you're giving away the any gains that you would make in your small society for the greater good, but are you also lowering the general standards of your smaller society to contribute?
That's a very... To be as pragmatic,
it's a dangerous
like that,
question to even ask.
Start to become, because you're boxing yourself into potentially be like a heartless person, and I would rather be, I'd rather think equally with my mind as well as my heart.
Right.
But that's just...
Speaking of not thinking with your mind.
Yes.
Apparently there was a school in Cape Cod that banned yoga pants. A school in Cape Cod that was a vocational school that banned yoga pants. And their argument was very different, because it wasn't about modesty. It was about employability. Since it is a vocational school, they said, we are teaching these students the skills to get hired. And
Okay.
as they were trying to teach these students skills to be hired, they said you can't wear yoga pants as pants. You can't wear leggings as pants. It's just not hireable.
Do they have any other clothing restrictions, or is it just yoga pants and leggings?
I think they have significant overall standards for your attire.
I don't want to see the full list because, like, it better have like you can't have no sleeveless undershirts,
Right?
No
Mesh shirts.
no baby doll crop tops, no mesh shirts. Oh
Mesh
God.
shirts. Mesh shirts. Like, I go to factories, it's amazing. And on 90% of the factories that I go to,
Yeah.
in their safety video, it says you cannot wear mesh shirts. And I'm like, is this a problem? Is this a thing you have to tell everybody? Because, like,
happened enough times.
yeah, because Joey comes in with a mesh shirt again this time? Like, seriously? Is that a thing still?
What? I came straight from the club. I didn't want to miss my shift. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Speaking about not missing your shift, there was a Kentucky clerk that was working her shift at the clerk of the court in Kentucky and refused to gay guys their marriage license. This was promulgated heavily on YouTube's, and that Kentucky clerk is currently in jail. And she is in jail until January. Apparently, could be in jail up until January.
Could be in jail in January. Okay, because I saw that, I was like, "Whoa, she has a sentence."
Well, she's being held for some reason, and I'm not sure why. Do you have any thoughts on the matter?
I think she's being held for contempt, because it's a court ordered her to comply, and she said no, so it's a contempt of a court order. Do I? Yeah, I have an. Thank you, Ziggy's confirming it was for contempt. Do I have an opinion? Absolutely. I think sadly, the more attention this woman receives, the more she becomes some kind of undeserved martyr. I mean, already you've got politicians who are name dropping her. You've got Rand Paul saying, this is, about infringing on her civil liberties. And I just think, and then I've seen people post, clever, responses of like, how would you feel? You'd probably be singing a different tune if a Quaker administrator refused you your gun license, or the or the Muslim clerk refused to give you a marriage license because the wife was not properly covered.
The Jewish clerk refused you the ability to open a tattoo parlor.
Right. So I see where it's this is not defending, because also it's like, then ask for a transfer or move. There's enough things. Muslims refuse to give alcohol license. Oh yeah, there is. There was a problem with Somali taxi drivers, but are you Ziggy's talking about the alcohol license? I do know that there was an issue with taxi drivers in Minneapolis who did not want to give ride to passengers who were bringing alcohol. But then that's a private. If you're a privately
right,
operated
and to me
vehicle,
that's the line in the sand. Is if you are operating a private thing. Now, if it was a New York City taxi with a medallion on it, then I would say that is a federally regulated service, and so therefore it gets gray.
Those medallions, though, it's a little bit.
But it gets gray. My point is that gets gray.
Yeah,
right? And then if it's clearly you're an Uber driver or whatever that is doing it completely on your own in your own vehicle with whatever, then you ought to be able to have the right to refuse anybody you damn well please.
Right. But if you're working for the city or the state,
that's right. You lose that ability.
Yeah.
You end up with a pension and you lose the ability to push your personal opinions on those whom you work with. Yeah. And
so the sooner she's no longer a talking point, the happier I'm going to be, because I'm tired of her. Yeah. I want her to go away. Well,
she wasn't doing her job. She was doing her personal vendetta, and that's not something you should celebrate.
Yeah. Nope.
Right. So, speaking of things to celebrate, I have something that is wonderful, and this is Google. And I had come up with something that you should not Google, and I can't remember what it is now.
Was it mesh shirts?
Oh, God. No, we talked about it in the pre-show.
Oh, don't.
God.
Well, don't. Not
I
the
lost
thing that
it.
I said. No,
I lost it. Okay, well,
a
I
good
do
thing.
have something that you should Google, right?
Oh, okay.
All right, so if you go to Google and
Yeah.
type in, I'm feeling curious,
uh-huh.
Google will come back with random factoids,
Oh, yeah?
right? Like I just said, I'm feeling curious, and Google comes back with, what vegetable was carved before pumpkins? Pumpkins were not the
turnips.
first.
Turnips.
Correct. The
Yeah.
Celtic custom was the historical root. So people in Ireland were carving turnips and lighting them with embers to ward off evil spirits.
Yeah. I just got, how many fingers does a Girl Scout hold up?
Girl Scout holds up 3. No,
Yeah.
boys, is it 3?
No, it is 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Girl with the right hand with first ring extended. Each finger stands for one part of the promise, and the little finger is held down by the thumb.
Wow.
How long have they been doing this? This is something new?
No, I think it's been done.
All right.
I think it's been done. Do you know that in Disneyland you're not allowed to point with one finger?
Yes, because it's considered rude in certain cultures, so they have to use the 2 finger.
2 or greater.
2 or greater. Yeah.
Yep.
Neat.
You can gesture.
Oh God. Who is the 5th Beatle? Is
Ringo.
Is it Stu? Well, there's 2 guys. There was 2 guys who used to be the Beatles. There was Stuart Masterson. Shoot, I should know this. Stuart Sutcliffe.
What?
Thank you, Ziggy.
Who is Stuart Sutcliffe?
Because was he the drummer who Ringo replaced, or was he the bassist that?
Oh,
Was
he
in,
was one of the early group members.
Was he the drummer that they?
The original bassist of the 5-member Beatles.
Okay. Who was the drummer that Ringo replaced? Because Ringo wasn't the original drummer.
Pete Best.
Pete Best. Thank you. Yeah. All right. That's good. That's good stuff. That's good trivia.
It was good trivia.
All right.
And then, hello, Denali.
Hello, Denali. Well, hello, Denali. Well, Denali is what is Denali?
Denali
Jeff?
is a mountain.
Yes. What? How
Used to
is-
be known as K2.
No. Used to be known as.
Mount McKinley.
Yeah. Mount McKinley, named after the exceptionally short-lived President McKinley, who never went to Alaska, but they still named the tallest mountain in North America.
Wow.
There had been a long movement to change it back to the original indigenous people of Alaska's name, Denali, because obviously highest mountain, that tends to be kind of like has some spiritual
big deal.
resonance.
Yeah.
And being named after some white dude who'd never even been to the state.
Right.
So very popular move by the president in Alaska. Where is this move most unpopular?
In the McKinley History Society? Or the people that do McGraw-Hill that now have to reproduce books for all of our educational?
Actually, I think the running joke has been that actually the McKinley Historical Society has really enjoyed the name change because they're like, yay, someone's actually talking about McKinley. People, maybe you want to come and visit the the tourist shop now. Yeah, so there are people in Ohio who are pissed because, they feel like this is trampling on their president, but really, come on. Seriously.
Was he from Ohio? Is he the only president from Ohio?
I don't know if he was the only one, because for some reason I thought Taft was from Ohio. But, I'll let Ziggy search it while I do this. And also, of course, because anything Obama does is perfect flame bait for the right.
Yes.
There has been already, presidential candidates going, "Brr, this is more of this, revisionist history." It's just like, shut up. let the Alaskan people have their Denali, okay?
Right, well, and it's silly to be called what it was, and that's just a much better word. The mountain does not look like McKinley. The mountain looks like a Denali, right?
Yeah.
You don't name a Chevy truck the McKinley. No, you name it a Denali, right?
Oh, Michelle just asked a great question, and I think I should know this. This is it's not Zachary Taylor. Is it Zachary Taylor? Or is it
Long pause.
Say the it's yeah. Sorry. What president
what president's grandsons or grandchildren are still alive?
Well, there's probably several, but like the oldest president who still has living grandsons, and I think it's Zachary Taylor.
Right, oldest. Waiting.
Ding! Yeah, Zachary Taylor, who was
Taylor.
president between what years, Ziggy? Wait for it.
12th president in
12th.
1849, and then he died in 1850.
Wait, am I wrong? It wasn't. Oh, I'm not sorry. I wasn't right. It was John Tyler, not Zachary. Oh, that's getting John Tyler. Taylor. That's a good. I knew. I'd seen that trivia question before, and I love my president. He took office in 1841, so he's still got some grandsons kicking around. That's some insane stuff.
Yeah,
that means
John Tyler was born in 1790.
Yeah, he's not having. Wow. Yeah, they did. And that's pre Viagra. So
Wow.
yeah.
I guess you have to work a little harder.
Well done,
back
Mr.
then.
President.
Well done. Well played, Mr. President.
You know what also was well played?
What was that?
You today.
Oh,
You
Tom,
rallied.
You played it well.
I wasn't up till 3 a.m. though. I wasn't
that is
partying
correct.
with Elsa and Khaleesi, or you're not sure
Yes.
which it was.
I don't know, but it was blue and female. And can I complain one more second about Dragon Con, right?
You may.
Not every single costume that a woman wears should be sexualized.
No.
It really shouldn't.
No.
Like, if you're going to wear a Superman costume as a woman, you don't have to have carve-outs for your boobs, right? You don't have to come up with, if you're going to do a Legionnaire, you don't have to have boob shapes in there to accentuate the fact that you're a female. It's okay to do androgy when you're cosplaying, in my opinion.
It's okay to do both. You shouldn't have it forced upon you that, you know.
Agreed. But there's a culture where it feels like every single female costume has to be sexualized to a certain extent. And I just want it to also be something that's on the menu that you can do an androgy costume too and be celebrated for that.
Have fun.
Have fun.
It's
Have
like,
fun.
I agree. We'll probably have the same conversation in October, where I just feel like Halloween costumes have just gone insane with the, it's like, we did it last year. We said, what was the sexy sriracha bottle? And
Right.
Like, what's happening? Just have fun, people.
Right.
Have
well,
fun.
but you know, how come we get gay pride parades where everybody gets to be flamboyantly sexual in what it is that they love for gay pride, right? But we don't, as heterosexual people, have any holiday like that, right?
Well, if we want to have a conversation about puritanical tendencies in America, we can have that conversation, but maybe we should save it for next week.
Okay.
We can talk about we are still, I'd say, we are still suffering from a hangover of Puritanism / Victorian, pragmatism and prudency. So we'll talk about that next week.
We will.
We'll revisit the topless ladies in Times Square because that story just keeps getting bigger and better. But I think this puts a fork in this.
I think it puts a cap on it. Right?
Cap on it.
We have certainly put a top hat on this week's show. It is firm, it is strong, and it is topped like Denali is. White.
Whoa.
And tall. No?
What are you talking about?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
All right, so
that was
this
a very
illustrious cast is done. I have now plugged that word in, and we are ready to romp. So you do not have to think like I think.
And you do not have to think like me.
But we're going to ask you as our audience to spend your time and think.